I'm Sarah Myerscough, and this is the Insurance Brokers Podcast, where we're talking to the personalities and the businesses that sit behind our industry. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe on your chosen podcast streaming platform. Good morning, Nat. I am so excited to have you on the Insurance Brokers Podcast this morning. The first time I spoke to you about this was a couple of years ago, and I've been trying to get you on ever since. So welcome. Thank you for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
So I am quite excited, having sort of met with you on and off over the course of the last couple of years, about the development within Thomas Carroll that you and David are heading up. And if it's okay with you, I would love to learn a little bit about that from you. So do you want to start by introducing yourself and TCi Futures?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Sarah. So I've been with Thomas Carroll for, I'm coming into my 10th year actually this year. So it's a really long time. I've got a background in sales, marketing and development. So I led those teams for some time. But I've always had an eye on doing things quite differently. I've always been on our chief exec's shoulder about sort of challenging the norm and thinking, how can we kind of start to disrupt in a nice way our industry? Hence the reason for TCi Futures, really. It's given us the opportunity to put time and resource into looking at doing these things quite differently and understanding the art of the possible.
When did TCi Futures become a thing? Because I remember speaking to you around the time that it was just launching. When was that? Can you remind me?
Yeah, it was probably around 18 months ago where we formalised things. Possibly even coming up to 2 years ago, where we thought, actually, we are going to, as I say, just formalise this and put some plans into place, some real sort of time, effort, resource into becoming a bit of an R&D arm, I guess, of Thomas Carroll, before then sort of branching out into our own subsidiary.
How, from a personal perspective, right, the last 18 months, what's the roller coaster been like? How have you personally kind of managed it and dealt with it, and what challenges have you faced?
It's been such a roller coaster. It's been so interesting. I think both myself and our managing director, David Lewis, we were so far out of our comfort zone. I think it's one thing kind of having an eye on wanting to challenge the norm, but then actually, gosh, how do we do this? And we had a blank piece of paper, and it was a bit like, guys, go off and start your own Insurtech business. We didn't know where to go with that, but it's been so exciting, so challenging, and we've learned so much. And as I said, we were on this kind of discovery, a real journey to begin with, and we wanted to understand the art of the possible. And I think what we've realised now is that through technology and also having the right people around us, that actually anything is possible. So we can kind of go ahead with that blank piece of paper and put those plans into practice.
What sort of things have you guys started to develop? And I know you've had some really successful developments that have already kind of, no longer a blank sheet of paper. Where's it gone?
I think one of our most exciting projects then, and something that we're really pressing ahead with, is our embedded insurance proposition. The reason we started looking at this, we understand the size of the market, the potential to generate new revenue streams. What it also allows us to do is for our client-facing colleagues to have very different conversations with their clients. So this doesn't just become about the traditional insurance renewal. This is, how can we help our clients add new revenue streams and open new opportunities for them? So the embedded insurance proposition is something that we're really excited about.
Tell me a bit more about it. What is it?
So this allows retailers to embed an insurance product at point of sale. So as an example, if I were to go online and buy a watch, when I check out, I can add insurance for that product at point of sale. So I never actually have to leave the retailer's e-commerce website. It becomes part of that seamless journey. So we've actually teamed up with some market leading software that allows us to open up these embedded insurance opportunities. So we use API connectivity to allow the e-commerce website to sit and talk to an insurance product and offer that seamlessly to their customers at point of sale.
And what industries are you in? What products are you looking at the moment?
It's very open at the moment, so we can talk to basically any retailer with an e-commerce website, which is why this is so exciting. We're kind of having conversations with people in many different spaces.
That's awesome. What's your personal biggest challenge over the last 18 months? What, I suppose challenge isn't the right word. What lesson have you learned personally about startup, insurtech, blank sheet of paper to profitable, business? What's your biggest lesson or challenge or whatever you want?
I think it's bringing together very different worlds at the moment. So as we know, the insurance industry is quite traditional. We have many legacy systems to deal with, but I think what I've learned and kind of the biggest challenge really is that we can now collide some very different skills. So as an example, we've taken on our very first full stack developer. So it allows us to become not just insurance people, but we can now become quite technical in our conversation. So I think bringing together these very different worlds is very exciting whilst challenging. We have some sort of mindsets to change. But again, it's very exciting.
One of the things that I've been really interested in through the podcasts that I do is I've spoken to a huge variety of people across the insurance industry, and I've spoken to quite a few insurtech startups. And what seems to be the case is that they are people who've been in the insurance industry, have seen that something can be done differently using technology, and then have gone on to start their own. I think it's really exciting that a very well established, big broker has set up this R&D arm and basically just gone, we're going to finance an R&D because we know this is the future. I was having a look at your website earlier. I think it's an incredible move. Where do you see it going? What do you want over the next 5 years? Have you kind of made a plan? Are you seeing where it goes?
Yeah, we've got a couple of things to talk about with this. So I think firstly, although we were founded obviously by the Thomas Carroll Group, we are already starting to work quite independently. We see we've got a bit of a role to play in terms of educating and supporting other brokers within our space. So given that we've got the time and resource to undertake the research and development, we are finding that there are so many digital tools out there that can enhance the position of the broker. And we see that as something we want to protect. We need to continue to provide that expertise, advice and guidance. We need that human touch, but at the same time, let's have a digital toolkit behind us. So we see ourselves as kind of going out there and talking and helping other brokers within our space to share our learnings and the technology that we are discovering.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. How much have you learnt about technology?
So much. We've learned so much. As I said, we just kind of we didn't want to become, and we see this all the time. You do see, as you say, sort of insurers and brokers trying to kind of break into the insurtech world. So we didn't want to do something that we didn't know too much about. Hence why we've partnered with a software provider to allow us to offer our embedded insurance proposition. But at the same time, why can't we start to bring these skills in-house? Which is why we're really excited about bringing on, as I say, a full stack developer and really starting to blend those skills across our industry. I think there's a real opportunity to do something quite different.
How many of you are there in TCi Futures?
We're now a team. So actively on the ground, we are a team of 4. So there's myself and David Lewis. So David is our MD and has 40 years of experience within our industry. So great guy.
I've interviewed David before.
Yes, a great guy to have on board. As I say, there's also our full stack developer, and we had a project coordinator who joined us back in January this year as well. We also have a board. So the board is there to help us kind of shape our strategic direction. We're lucky enough to have Lee Griffin as one of those board members. So Lee was a co-founder of GoCompare. So we're really lucky to have that sort of expertise and guidance as well, kind of within our board.
That's just incredible. One of the interviews that I did in the latter half of last year was really fun interview, much like this one. And I said to Ed from Hubinshaw, what do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as an insurance company or as a digital company? And his answer was, I see myself as a customer service company. Is your answer different? If so, why?
I'd happen to agree. I think, it has to be customer first. We have to be led by the changing needs of the client and customer. And I think, again, that's kind of where we came from, is that we understand the world around us is changing, and it's changing a lot faster than any of us could have anticipated. So we have to put those changing needs first. I believe that we're seeing that kind of next generation of decision makers, and we need to understand how and where they want to transact, where they want to do business. So as I said, I'm quite passionate about creating this business where we have, it's that human-centered business, but with the digital toolkit, so that we can be more efficient, we can automate our processes that we don't need to spend hours doing anymore, and really add value to all of our day jobs, so that, we're giving that advice and the human touch where it's most important.
In terms of TCi Futures, will there ever be a point where TCi Futures is bigger than TC?
That's a really interesting question, actually. I think, we are there to generate new opportunities for the group, for our colleagues, for our clients. So never say never, I guess. I mean, ultimately, we are there to support the group. And again, to make us more efficient and to unlock new revenue streams. But at the same time, there are new opportunities coming our way all the time. So I guess it is a possibility.
Absolutely. You heard it here first. So in terms of the people, so the listenership to the Insurance Brokers podcast is predominantly UK based, but there are a significant proportion in America and then elsewhere. You'd assume it's predominantly insurance people that are listening. Who do you want to speak to? So TCi Futures, you're presumably predominantly B2B. You've mentioned that you want to support brokers, so there's a sort of a wholesale element there. So brokers, what do they need to come and speak to you about? What troubles are they having that you can support?
It's interesting you say that. I think we're keen to speak to brokers about their pain points, to understand what their challenges are. And, through technology, can we help to plug some of those gaps again, so that we can add value to our day job, to make sure that our teams are doing what they're really good at, that human interaction. Can we automate some of those processes behind the scenes to make us all more efficient? So we're really keen to talk to brokers about, as I say, their challenges, what's troubling them, and can we help? Okay,
so if you're listening, please, I'll put, if you're happy, Nat, I'll put your email address in the show notes. So if anybody is listening and says, look, I want to talk to you, these are the things that I'm struggling with, even from a market research perspective, please get in touch with Nat, because I think it's quite an exciting proposition that you guys are building. And from what I'm hearing, you're not building one proposition. You are still very much an R&D arm, but through that R&D, you are starting or have developed even some actual projects that are now starting to come in.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, our remit is quite wide. I mean, as I said, and as you say, we are still very much in research and development. And, through talking to even the Thomas Carroll clients, again, it's understanding where their pain points are. So though we're used to having traditional conversations around their business risk, let's have a wider conversation about generally what's troubling them. And again, through the use of technologies, smart platforms, can we possibly help? The remit is quite wide for us.
It's so exciting for you.
Very exciting.
What would you say your top 3 pieces of advice are for those listening in terms of their future-proofing their business? What's your top 3 things that you think brokers specifically need to be thinking about now from your 18 months of learning on this?
I think, first of all, again, it's about putting our people first. So we really have to be listening to our clients, our colleagues, business friends. So let's remember that whilst the technology is excellent, it's not going to work unless we have the right people around us. So I think that would be my top tip. Secondly, I think it's about understanding the art of the possible. So go out there and spend time doing your research. I think I spent the first 12 months probably on as many webinars and going to conferences as I could, just to understand, what is out there. And thirdly, kind of have a plan. So make sure that, if you are looking to implement technology, that it aligns with your business and your goals, and where you need to be. There are so many programs and various technology tools out there at the moment that, we could spend all of our time investing in them. But, let's make sure that it's the right fit for you and your business.
And how do you do that? Because one of the things that I feel as a consumer, and I'm not talking about insurance, I'm just talking about day-to-day life, there are so many tools, apps, everything, that it is completely overwhelming. Just when I was looking for a project management tool a couple of years ago, like I tried about 5 different ones, and it was exhausting just doing that. How did you go about finding that right fit? What is it that you're looking for?
I think, it comes back to having those conversations. So not just doing your sort of online research, but have as many conversations as you can and reach out. We're working quite hard still at building our own network of connections so that, we have this safe space to collaborate and share ideas. So just, I guess, talk to people and understand, what works for others and how could this apply to me and my business or my life.
Fabulous. So you've heard it here. If you're listening to this, talk to Nat. She wants to talk to you, and there could be some huge mutual benefit that comes out of it. I'm really interested actually to follow your journey, and I would really love it if you would come back on the podcast in like 12 months and let me know what the next kind of 12 months has or what's occurred in that 12 months, because I think what you guys are doing is fabulous. So well done to you guys.
Thank you ever so much. No, and thank you for having us. I mean, we're on this kind of, as I say, this really exciting discovery kind of phase, and we have plans to grow our team and our technical capabilities. So yeah, I mean, over the next 12 months, I mean, who knows what could happen?
Who knows? I mean, let's just think what the last 24 months has brought. You never can tell you. So I just want to say thank you, Nat. I've learnt from you. I'm grateful to have you on. I absolutely will try and get you on again. And if I start now, then maybe in 2 years' time we'll be there.
No, that's great. Thank you ever so much.
Thanks for listening to the Insurance Brokers podcast. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to subscribe on your chosen podcast streaming platform and check us out on YouTube.